Good morning, Tacoma New Life Church. Today is Friday, September 3rd. Yes, September 3rd. And we are on day 6 of the Bible reading plan, Prodigal Son Transformation. The theme for today is action, time to get up. And the verse we are assigned this morning is Luke chapter 15, verse 20. And I'll go ahead and read that for us this morning. So would you listen to what it says? And he arose and came to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt compassion and ran and embraced him and kissed him. Right? Amen. Right? This is such a profound moment in the parable of the prodigal son. You know, my kids do a lot of things for themselves when they want to, right? When it's something they want to do. But the moment that there is a conflict or one is fighting with the other, they come running over to me, or they come over to my wife and they start complaining, or they start whining, and they are so quick. They are so quick to tattletale on one another. Like the younger will come and be like, "Onni did this." And Onni means older sister, right? And the older one will come and say, "Well, she did this or she did that," and it's all dramatic until either my wife or myself are just fed up with what they're complaining about, and our response simply becomes, just figure it out, right? Just figure it out. Do something about it. Don't just come complaining to us, right? Figure it out. Just figure it out. As in complaining isn't going to do nothing about it, right? Whining isn't going to do anything about it. Crying about the situation is going to get you nowhere, right? In terms of progress. And the same thing goes when for the younger brother, when I think about his situation, right? His situation became very unfortunate quickly, right? And if you need a reminder, he took his inheritance and he went and lived this lavish lifestyle and went from being very, very, rich in his eyes to quickly being very, very poor, to where he's eating what the pigs eat because he's that desperate for food. And when you think about his situation, you feel sorry for him. But one of the things he does that we should take notice to is that he didn't just sit there feeling sorry for himself, right? He didn't let himself feel helpless or hopeless. He hits rock bottom, and at the lowest moment of his life, he has this awakening, right? He has this moment of brutal honesty where he comes to his senses. And he realizes just how immature he's been. And he ultimately makes the decision that I need to go home. It's time to go home. And now it's one thing to say that, right? It's one thing to have that mentality or to put have that plan, right? It's another to whine about your situation. It's another thing to complain about it. But it's a whole different level to actually follow through your words with actions, right? It's one thing to talk about it. It's another to go about executing the plan. You see, because when it comes to action, when it comes to taking the necessary steps, that's where a lot of people end up getting stuck. Meaning that they say they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and they don't. Right? They know what needs to be done. They even know how to do it. But when it comes time to actually moving, it's like they are hit with paralysis and unable to move. It's one thing to have this awakening, right? It's one thing to have this epiphany. It's another thing to have this conviction. But all of that is meaningless if there is no action that follows it up. Marshawn Lynch, right? Hopefully you know who Marshawn Lynch is. Marshawn Lynch said it best when answering the reporter. He says, "I'm just about that action, boss." Right? I'm just about that action, meaning that I'm not here to talk. Right? I'm here to get things done. And when it comes to our lives, like I pray that we would have the mentality just to get things done. Like when we have that conviction to get things done. You know, when it comes to the necessary action needed in our lives, we must act upon it. Right? We must act upon it. And when it comes to the younger brother, he didn't know what the outcome was going to be. Right? He didn't know how he'd be received by his father. Like he didn't even know if his father would receive him as one of his servants, let alone his son, right? He didn't know. But the thing about that, and the thing that Jesus is illustrating for us, is that the unknown didn't stop him. Right? The unknown didn't stop him. He just knew he needed to go home. And he did so, and the rest is history. And I think that's what Jesus wanted us to understand. It's like, you know who your father is. You know where your father's house is. You know what your father's about. Return to your father, despite whatever it is that you have done. You see, the younger brother didn't get stuck when it came time for action. He got up, left the very place he was, and headed home to his father's house. You know, the truth of the matter is that when it comes to us, when it comes to our lives, obeying God, being obedient to God and His Word requires action on our part. You know, it calls for us to act upon what He has commanded us and what He is calling for us to do with our lives, aka the very lives that He has saved. Right? In James chapter 1, which isn't a part of our reading plan this morning, but I feel like it's fitting for today, says that, you know, all throughout James chapter 1 says that we need to become doers of the word, not just hearers, but people who put the word into action. And even in James chapter 2, he says, "Let me show you my faith by the way I live my life." Right? I'm paraphrasing, by the way. And so the question that we need to ask ourselves this morning is, you know, what is it that you have been awakened to? What is it that you've been awakened to? You know, what have you experienced in moments of brutal honesty? And has that led you into immediate action? Or do you find yourself at a standstill with yourself? In other words, do you know what you need to do? You just can't bring yourself to do it. Here's the thing, church, if you know what you need to do, then today is a great day to get up and to go about doing it. Right? Today's a great day to be about the Father's business. And maybe the thing that you need is simply to get up and return to the Father's house. And so with that said, church, being that it is Friday, that means the weekend is just right around the corner. That means we get to worship with each other this coming Lord's Day. And so if you haven't worshiped with us in a person in a long time, then this Sunday is a great day to return to the Father's house. Today, this weekend is a great day to get up and to make it back into the Father's house. But today is a great day to get up and to put what you know you need to do into action. I pray that the Lord will bless you, that He would keep you today. And until next time, may you go in peace. Amen and amen.